Oh, g'day guys. What I'd like to talk to you today about is my riding history. A lot of people do these sort of vlogs when they get into moto vlogging, and you know, it's normally my first vlog or my first video, why I chose motorcycling, you know, why I ride, that sort of thing. It's taken me a little while to get round to doing it. I didn't really do it in my first few videos like I probably should have, and I thought, well, maybe I should do it now. Better late than never, and better now than later. So I didn't really get into motorcycling until fairly late. You often hear some people's stories, you know, they rode dirt bikes when they were kids, their dads rode or whatever. I never had any of that. I had a few friends that had dirt bikes growing up in a small country town, but I never had one. I rode their bikes, little Pee-wee 50s and 80s and stuff, every now and then. Not very often. Then when I was an adult, I had some friends who had dirt bikes. So I rode a couple of friends' dirt bikes from time to time, but I never really got into motorcycling for some reason. Probably because when I was 19, I bought a jet ski, and I got right into jet skiing for years, and I did that for about 5.5 years or so, and that was sort of my motorcycling, I guess, at the time. So I would just jet ski all the time on a stand-up jet ski. But then I sold the jet ski to go travelling overseas and worked in a ski resort in America and went around the world, and I came back and I ended up back at work with a mate who I'd worked with before, but he'd gotten back into motorbike riding again. He'd had his licence previously, but he didn't have one when I worked with him previously. And he had one when I came back from overseas, and I ended up living with him, and I thought, yeah, I might get my license. So I got my license, got my learners, and while I was getting my learners and getting that all sort of organised, I came across a damaged bike at the local towing place. It had been written off, and I had a look at that, and because I was in the automotive industry repairing cars and everything, and I'd repaired a few bikes over time, and I was actually working on bikes when I came back from overseas, because another friend had a motorbike repair shop in Melbourne, which he's still got now, I believe. So I was working for him, working on cars, and then I bought my bike damaged and repaired it, CBR 250 RR. So this was when I was 25. So I was 25, it was 1998, it was a 1991 model CBR 250 RR. Repsol colours, you know, Mick Doohan was world champion at the time, so it was really cool to have a Mick Doohan replica bike. So I repaired that and crashed it, repaired it and painted it again, and rode it around for the next 2 years. So during that 2 years, I bought another bike as a project. My mate had called me up and said, oh, I saw this little Suzuki Across 250 at the local dealership, and it looks like it'd be a good repairer. I said, it's only going for $1,000, he said, and he goes, I haven't got $1,000, so if you got $1,000 to spare, you know, it's all yours. I went, oh yeah, I could do that. So I went and looked at it, thought, yep, that looks like a bit of a project, it'll come up alright. So I just needed a bit of a lick of paint, some tyres and some new brakes, and yeah, so I picked up for $1,000 and got it roadworthy and registered, and actually I was taking it into work to get it roadworthy, and I dropped it round the roundabout. Cold tyres in the morning. What had happened was I put the throttle cable around the wrong way when I put it all back together, and when I went around the roundabout on cold tyres first thing in the morning, I just leaned over, just pulled on the cable and just pulled the throttle a little bit, and it just, yeah, back wheel just went out from underneath me, and I was on the road on the middle of the roundabout. Next thing I knew, So that went back home, had fixed it up, got it roadworthy and registered, and sold it for a profit. Not long after. Even after I crashed it, I still made a profit. And not long after that, we talked about buying a house and moving back to Queensland. So I sold my CBR as well. Sold that for a profit after 2 years of riding it around. Even though I did crash it and had to repaint it twice. So that was all good. So then I didn't have a bike. Bought a house in Queensland and thought, yeah, I'll get a bike in a couple more years. And that was 2001 when we bought our house, and it just never happened. Never got around to buying that bike again. I talked about bikes with mates and had mates with bikes, and I'd go and tease myself by going to the shops, all the bike stores. I was living in perfect bike country, you know, all these roads you see me going on all the time. I was driving them, driving this road and thinking, you know, well, geez, I'd love to have a bike on this road. But it wasn't until we sold our house in 2011 that I could finally afford to go and buy another bike. So that's when I did. I bought this V-Strom in 2011. So I've had this for 2 years now, a bit over 2 years, and I just love it. So I had ridden bigger bikes before, but the only ones prior to this that I owned were 250s. I actually rode a mate's CBR 600 the first day I got my learners. The guy I was talking about earlier that I was living with, he had a project bike that he bought to do up and sell. Bought it at the auctions. There was a CBR 600. He had a GSXR 750. He goes, right, you've done your learners, you know how to ride, let's go for a ride. I went, oh, okay, no worries. Hopped on his 600, went for a ride. That was my first time of riding a road bike on the road, ever. I'd never ridden anything on the road. This is the first larger size bike that I've had. And it's, you know, it's not huge, it's only 650, but I'm only a lightweight fella, so it does me perfect. I don't really need anything huge. So yeah, that's my story. So although I've had my license for 15 years, I've only been riding about 4 years out of that 15. So 11 years without a bike I had. It was a long time. So I hope you enjoyed my story, and yeah, I'd love to hear yours. So comment down below, down there, or paste a video response down there of your riding journey so far. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. See you later.